So according to all the mathematicians out there, including Experimental 361 who knocked up this graphic, Blackburn Rovers are one of 2 clubs around the UK that can't go up or down in their respected division. Surely, time to play the Starman out on the wing? Or maybe not. That's right, folks, back once again with another match preview, this time looking forward to the Blackburn Rovers' next match on the road against QPR. We'll get to that in just one second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button, keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, championship related, world football related. We're going to all here under one roof. Now, before we jump into the old match preview against QPR, we want a big shout out to a live show that I'll be doing on Good Monday, Easter Monday, and that'll be the Blackburn Rovers Bolton live reaction show over on Twitch. I'll be there for the whole game, and I'll give you up-to-date input on the match, plus live results elsewhere, live table, all that kind of good stuff. It's quite a setup. It is in beta form, so hopefully it's something that we can look forward to doing more of next season. So that bad boy will be over on Twitch on Monday, around about 30 minutes before kickoff. So link to that bad boy in your description below. But anyway, let's get into the thick of things and talk about this Friday's match up against QPR over at Loftus Road. And QPR, the match does take place on the 19th of April, and Queen's Park Rangers have... since the last time that we met earlier in the season, have changed their manager for the, I don't know, better or worse. It depends on where you stand on the fence. Obviously, prior to John Eustace's arrival on a caretaker basis, Steve McLaren was the gaffer. And I think, Eustace on a caretaker basis, he might get off the job on a permanent deal. We'll have to wait and see. And last season, QPR finished 16th in the table. That's probably in and around about where they could finish this season. And the key man for me, once again, it is Luke Freeman. Very, very good player in the middle of the park. He's actually been playing out on the wing for QPR in recent matches. So, got to keep an eye on him. In fact, there's quite a few creative individuals in there as well. Obviously, Naki Wells on the books on loan. And who else? Hemed. I think he's from Brighton also on there. Anyway, the last time that these two sides met was a 2-1 win for Rovers. That was in the FA Cup last year. Was it last year? No, it was actually 2 years ago. Going all the way back to 7th of Jan 2017. That was the last time that we met at Loftus Road. Now, over the years, Blackburn Rovers have played Queen's Park Rangers 47 times in all competitions. We've won 21 of them. They've won 14, and we've drawn 12 apiece. Okay, folks, so let's take a look at the starting 11s. But before that, we'll take a look at the injury tables for QPR. Jake Bidwell and Grant Hall both out at the moment. It looks like Jake Bidwell could come back. He's on a day-to-day sort of analysis, and Grant Hall is unknown. As for any suspensions, nobody is suspended for the game, so besides those 2 injuries, a clean bill of health. Anyway, the expected lineup for me in a 4-1-4-1 formation will be like this: Lumley in goal, Manning, Leisner, Furlong, Rangel, Samuel on the left, Freeman on the right, Cousins, Scowen, Luongo in the middle at the defensive role, and Hemed up top. I think he scored a brace in the last game. Anyway, let's take a look at the stats for you. Naki Wells has 9 goals, Freeman has 8, Hemed has 7, and Smith has 6. As for the discipline, Lynch has 12 yellows, Scowen has 10, Luongo has 9, and Bidwell has 8. As for the Reds, 2 players on red cards, or have had red cards this season, Cousins and Hall. Now, the last 5 fixtures, the last 5 results for QPR look like this. Prior to their last match, it was a bit ropey form for them. They did, though, smash Swansea in the last game, and that was on Saturday, 13th of April, 4-0 at Loftus Road. So they're going to have the bit between the teeth in that one. Before that, though, they drew with Millwall away, 0-0. They also lost at Carrow Road, 4-0. We got that adventure up ahead for Rovers. So big defeat there by QPR. They also lost to Bolton at Loftus Road, 30th of March, and all the way back at the 16th of March, they drew 2-2 with Hull on the road. Now, the next 4 fixtures as they wrap up their season, obviously QPR this Friday, then they take on Derby Easter Monday. That was on the 22nd of April, and again, both of those 3 o'clock kickoffs. Their final Saturday match of the season is up against Nottingham Forest, 27th of April at Loftus Road, and then end the season at Hillsborough, 5th of May, up against Sheffield Wednesday. Now, how about Rovers? Their injury tables look like this: Gladwin and Samuel both out for the season. Harrison Reed is unknown, his status. Hopefully he's back, because he is a handful in the middle of the park. And Craig Conway's got a bit of a thigh injury as well. He's on a day-to-day sort of a basis as well. No recognised suspensions either. So now I was actually in 2 minds here. Obviously, we're safe, mathematically safe, can't go up, can't go down. I don't know, all you mathematician Rovers fans out there might think, and I was the same, there is still a mathematical chance of us getting playoffs, but I had a quick look at the old remaining fixtures, and that's not the case. I think Bristol City and Derby play each other, and that game itself, that existence of that game, nullifies any chance Rovers have, because a draw either way or a win either way would mean we are doomed. Anyway, so yeah, two minds on this one, because the gaffer's saying that he wants to get 60 points, so I think he has all intentions of fielding a strong side. And I just think, and I had originally my lineup had Chapman in there, Brereton in there, Davenport in there, and Nyambe at right back. And I just thought that I don't think he's going to do that. I think he is going to play strong and maybe have the likes of Davenport, Brereton, and Chapman on the bench, especially for this game. Maybe the game against Bolton, we might see a few more younger faces. But anyway, this is my lineup. Ryo, Bell, Williams, Lenihan and Bennett at right back. Travis and Reed. I'm going for Reed. Don't know if he'll make it or not. Dacky Boy, Armstrong, Rothwell and Graham. As you were pretty much for the game against Derby. But we'll have to see if Reed gets it through. Anyway, quick look at the stats for you Rovers. Dax, top of the pops with 16 goals. Graham's hot on his heels with 15. Mulgrew has 10. Armstrong has 8. As for the discipline, Bennett has 10 yellows. Evans has 8. Smallwood has 8. And Lenihan joins them with 8 as well. As for the Reds, 2 players with red cards, but 3 dished out this season. Williams got 2 of them. Smallwood's got 1. And moving on to the last 5 results. It's looking a little bit rosy for Rovers. Back-to-back wins for them in recent times. Forest on the weekend on 13th of April. Then they did also beat Derby at Ewood Park on the 9th of April. All the way up on the 6th of April, we did lose to Stoke. Sloppy 1-0 loss against them. All the way back on the 30th of March, we did also lose to Aston Villa 2-1. And then also we did lose to Sheffield Wednesday on the 16th of March. So, yeah, it's up and down kind of form. And the last 4 fixtures of Rovers season look like this. Obviously, QPR on Friday, Good Friday. You can join me live on Easter Monday for the Bolton game at Ewood Park, our penultimate home game of the season. Then we take on Norwich on the road against Carrow Road, 27th of April. And then we'll take on Swansea City, the last game of the season, 5th of May at Ewood Park. Let's take a look at the form book now. The away form for Rovers and the home form for QPR. Okay, the last 5 or 6 fixtures for QPR at home include, obviously, a win against Swansea last time out, 2 defeats against Bolton and Rotherham, a draw against Stoke. They also beat Leeds as well, and they also lost to West Brom. So it's a bit hodgepodgey for them, and it's also a bit hodgepodgey for us. The last 6 fixtures of results for Rovers look like this. They did obviously the win against Forest recently, loses or defeats against Villa Wednesday, Rotherham, Birmingham as a draw, and Reading as a loss. So 1 win out of 6 is not great. 2 wins at home at 6 is also not great. So it's on the fence there, folks, the form book. Anyway, let's take a look at the last 6 fixtures between the two sides in all competitions and all grounds, and Rovers have a positive win ratio against them. At the last 6 matches, we've won 3 of them and drawn 3 of them. So QPR haven't won in 6 overall. And also, when you look at the grand scheme of things at Loftus Road, the last 6 matches as well between 2 sides, QPR haven't won any of them as well. So you have to go all the way back to 2001, my records here, and still no victory for QPR. There's 2 wins there for Rovers, though, including that FA Cup one in 2017. But before that, 4 draws on the spin, so it's looking likely that it could be another one this Friday. Anyway, WhoScored.com has given this kind of synopsis of the two sides, what our strengths and weaknesses are. So I'm not going to go over it because I'll waffle on too much. You just pause the screen here, take a look at it, and see what you say. Anyway, the form table looks like there's a lot better picture for Rovers. We are now sitting in 10th in the form table. Out of all, this is home and away. QPR's home and away form is not great, 20th in the table, but they did put up a bit of a spanking victory in the last game. That gives them a good old boost. As for the home form, the QPR you're looking at here, 17th in the table. The last 6, 7 points out of a possible, 18. So, yeah, okay. Not brilliant, but not terrible as well. As for the away form, Rovers, where are they? Woo, we're 17th in the table, so... 17th in the home rankings against 17th in the away rankings. So pretty hodgepodgey there. Anyway, let's take a look at what the table does look like. Norwich are top of the pops at the moment. 4 points clear of Leeds, who are in 2nd spot. Sheffield United slip out of it now. 3 points adrift in 3rd. West Brom 4th. Villa 5th. and Bristol City 6th. As for the bottom 3, Ipswich are down. Bolton could possibly join them this weekend. Rotherham as well in the drop zone as it stands, 2 points adrift of Millwall and Wigan. Suck them Latics in there. As for QPR, they're in 17th spot, 48 points on the ball. Rovers are in 15th, so we're 15th. Can't go up, can't go down. Let's try and get that goal difference into the positive. As for the matches that will take place this Good Friday, they include these bad boys. Bristol City up against Reading. Both teams looking for something in that game. Bristol City looking for playoffs, Reading for safety. Millwall against Brentford. West Brom against Hull. Preston with Alex Neil, who recently signed a new deal, 3-year contract. He's going nowhere. Up against already relegated Ipswich. Borough against Stoke. Bolton already, that's a difficult one for them to save themselves. Up against Aston Villa. Sheffield United against Forest. This also could be a difficult one. Swansea City against Rotherham. They need to bounce back. Rotherham need to keep their heads up. Leeds against Wigan. Come on, Leeds. For the first time in the whole season, I'm rooting on Leeds. But the game of the weekend is obviously QPR. Blackburn Rovers at Loftus Road. Birmingham take on Derby, and Norwich City take on a very difficult Sheffield Wednesday. Now, quick look at the top goal scorers in the division. Timo Pukki is the main man with 27 goals to his name. Abraham is hot on his heels, kind of, 24 goals. Then there's a list of Billy Sharp, Malpay, Che Adams, Rodriguez, Gale, Bowen, McBurney, and Grabin tops the top 10. As for the assist makers, Benrahma is the main man with 14 assists. Hernandez, Gruzicki both have 12. Lolly and Buenda have 11. They've heard a little bit what I have to say about the match. Now what you really want to hear is what the opposition fans have to say. And I'm joined live via Skype by Jonny Naidoo, who is a QPR supporter. Now, Johnny, for my small corner of the YouTube universe, if you don't mind telling me a little bit about yourself and why on earth you support QPR.
My name's Jonny. I've been a QPR fan since I was about 4 or 5 years old, through my parents, grandparents, everything. With QPR, it's always been kind of like a family thing. So obviously there are opportunities to support teams like, especially where I grew up, to support teams like Chelsea or Man United, but it was always QPR. Just kind of fell in love with the club. I'm 22. I currently work in insurance, and I go to QPR as much as I can. I used to be a season to get hold of it financially. It's quite difficult at the moment. So but I do go as much as I possibly can.
Okay, so now this section of the video is kind of more like a season summary of Queen's Park Rangers. You've had an up and down season, literally up and down. You were down at the bottom, then you were sniffing at the playoffs, and now you're back down towards the bottom half of the table once again. So you're going to kind of cover most aspects of the team. So first and foremost, for you, who has been the standout player for QPR this season?
Best player this season is kind of a tough question to answer, and obviously I've given it a lot of thought over the course of the season because, as you said, we've had very rollercoaster season. First half was quite very good, second half very poor. I'd say as a kind of a constant, Angel Rangel has been absolutely outstanding since he's been. I mean, given that he's played most of the season as well, barring a few months of injury, he's been, even when he has been playing, it's just been consummate professional. He's every time he's on the pitch, he knows exactly what he's doing. He can properly marshal the team. He can play in any position across the back four and can just completely boss it, as he showed as well on Saturday against Swansea. So
now on the opposite end of that spectrum, obviously there is always a couple of people that don't really pull their weight and maybe to be considered as a bit of a turkey. Who's been a dud for you boys this season?
I'd probably have to say for the large majority of the season, I would say Josh Cohen. That doesn't particularly. It's not. I really like him as a player. I think he's really good. He's a proper, all around the place. You know exactly what he's doing. He's got a brilliant pass on him. They call him a little rat because he's just hidden everywhere. A lot of the season as well, he's not played a huge amount, but when he has been playing, especially in the last few months, it's just he struck me as more of a League One player. But recently, off of the Millwall away and Swansea at home, he showed what a good player he actually can be. And I do feel a bit bad saying that, but I would probably say he's probably the main culprit.
Now, also, the first team is obviously the guys who get all the headlines and all that kind of good stuff. But is anyone coming through the ranks, through the academy perhaps, that's going to be somebody that we should be keeping an eye out for next season?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say obviously from last season we had Ebereeze coming through. He had a really good start to the season. Obviously there's a theme coming through here from what I'm saying. He made a very good start to the season. He's got a aura of a Delta Raptor about him. He's got unquestionable talent. He can glide past players they're not even there. So you've got him going through. Ilias Chair as well. He's on loan at Stevenage at the moment. He's been scoring goals for fun out there. He's been incredible. Lewis Walker as well. He came on off the bench for his first team debut against Swansea. So and he did quite well for the last 10 minutes. So obviously it's becoming evident that the club are now starting to bring in players, from the youth academy, because financially it's quite tough.
So Steve McLaren has come and gone, but he was here at the start of the season to bring in some fresh new faces. So out of the other players that he brought into the club, who has been?
I'd say Naki Wells, to be honest. Naki Wells he's obviously proven himself at this level. He did it with Huddersfield, and he was very good, and he was very promising when he was at Bradford as well. He went to Burnley, didn't quite make it. It was as it happens when you kind of make that step up from Championship to Premier League, kind of didn't really get those starts that he needed. So I think for him it was important to go down to a mid-table, sort of mid to lower table Championship side to show that he can do it. He's been our top scorer this season, joint top scorer with Luke Freeman. So I'd say he's been our best signing.
It doesn't matter who the manager is. It could be Pep Guardiola. It could be flipping Neil Warnock. But everybody will make a dodgy signing every now and again. So who was QPR's worst this season?
It's hard, I think, because we obviously haven't made a lot of signings, as you can imagine, with the transfer embargo in January and the complete lack of funds. And again, this is very harsh given his performance on Saturday against Swansea. But I'd say Tom Mohamed, he got an injury at the same time as Jeff Cameron and Ango Wangel in December. But recently, in the last few months, he's just not, especially when he's come on and the wage I can imagine he was on as well, coming from Brighton, decent, solid Premier League team. He's not quite cut it up front. He's not chasing down. He's not been chasing down second balls. His finishing's been off. Every shot's been over the bar. Again, this is completely contrary to what happened on Saturday. That he proved, like a lot of players proved, that they can do it. But I would probably say Tom Mohamed, he's not quite been up there for me.
Now, obviously, you've covered the best player and the worst player, best signing and all that kind of good stuff. But who for you is your favourite player?
I've got to say Luke Freeman. I mean, Luke Freeman's absolutely outstanding. He's been here with us for a few years now. We got him for, I think, just shy of £300,000 from Bristol City. It was a really good piece of business, and I think only Pablo Hernandez, the Leeds player, has created more chances, created loads of assists, and he has been consistently for the last few years that he's been with us. He's just, every time he's in the team, you can just tell how much of a difference he makes. He's got an amazing left foot on him as well. Fantastic at set pieces, and he just brings a bit of creativity to the team.
Now, obviously, a lot of players get all the plaudits for scoring the goals and the assists, but other players can be in the headlines for the wrong reasons. The red cards, the flying elbows, the dodgy tackles. Who's the guy that we should be keeping an eye out for a late tackle?
I would have said Joel Lynch had he been playing. I don't think he will because he's been dropped. He's had a few poor performances the last few months. But I'd say Josh Gowen. Okay. Within about 30 seconds against Millwall, he got a yellow card, and within about a minute, he'd gone in quite tough on Dan James, their prospect, young Welsh prospect from Swansea. So he's definitely the sort of player. He's, as I said, they call him the little rat.
Yeah,
he's here, there, everywhere with tackles. He's sometimes a bit too reckless, but I would say definitely that's one to look out for. Now,
obviously, the players who score the goals seem to get all the headlines and all that kind of good stuff. Is there somebody within the starting 11 or within the 18 that gets a lot of plaudits that you think maybe he shouldn't really get these plaudits? He's kind of maybe a bit overrated.
Slightly unfairly, but the only player that comes to mind would probably be Joe Lumley. While he's had to come through, and we sold Alex Smith to Cardiff, which was a no-brainer for him. He wanted to go to the Premier League. Matt Ingram started the season for first 4 games, the infamous first 4 games, and he just didn't cut it. He was pretty poor. We sent him out on loan, and we had Joe Lumley in, who at the start, again, brilliant. He's young. He's just coming up through ranks. First full-time proper season, especially at this level, and he has been doing well at the start of the season, and obviously he deserved the plaudits given his age. But I think afterwards, from January onwards, he every time he had a goal kick, it went out of play or went to an opposition player, and there was shots that he felt he should have saved that went in. But obviously there are a lot of QPR fans out there who will give him praise because he's young, he's coming through the ranks, he's one of our own. I'm sorry for using the cliche, but he is one of our own. But I do think he can be really great, but he's not as good as I think as people are making it out to be.
Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, obviously I said it, the goal scorers get the headlines, but what about the guys in the background doing all the donkey work, the hard graft, the tackles, the key passes, or all that kind of good stuff? Who is the most underrated at Loftus Road?
I'd say Massimo Longo, to be honest. I probably wouldn't put him completely under the category of underrated because we know he is probably one of our best midfielders, but when he went out, he was missing for a while, and when he came back, after Jeff Cameron came back and Josh Cohen came back into the team. And then when he came back in the team, right slap bang in the middle of February, when we had 8 games, we had FA Cup, obviously, we had a lot of tough games at home against big teams like West Brom, Leeds, Birmingham. And it was really hard for us. And long ago, Mass wasn't putting in the performances that we've known to put in.
Now, obviously, QPR have had legends, Les Ferdinand, Trevor Sinclair. They're players that I grew up in the old Premier League. But for you, who has been the best ever player in your eyes that's done the old blue and white hoops?
I'd say since I've been alive, since I've been watching QPR, I'd say Adel Taarabt purely for that season when we coasted the Championship all the way through. From that year, he was Championship Player of the Year, a top scorer. He was just, I think, actually against Swansea, Boxing Day. I remember we won 4-0 again, and he assisted 2, he scored 2. One of the goals, he did a rainbow flick, nutmeg one of their players, and stuck it in the back of the net. It was just, he had such raw talent. He could have been up there with one of the best in the country if he'd stuck it out. His problem, he had an attitude problem. Mm-hmm. So especially when we were in the Premier League where we needed to grind out results. Well, after we got promoted, he just wasn't a player that you wanted on the pitch.
Right.
So to grind up, to get that scrappy draw against Wigan or nick that last minute goal against Bolton, he wanted to kind of perform against the bigger teams, which is nice. But you don't stay up in the Premier League by beating the big teams. You stay up by beating the teams around you, and he just wasn't the kind of player that you wanted on the pitch.
If you could steal one player from anywhere in the league, it could be with Norwich, it could be even with the strugglers and relegated Ipswich Town. If there's someone that you would like to steal and stick into your starting 11,
that's a tough one because obviously you've got teams like Norwich and Leeds, and you've been incredible. I'd probably say purely from what I think we've been missing and what I think it's harder to improve in a team as opposed to things like defence and midfield. I would probably say Billy Sharp for Sheffield United. He just scores goal for fun. He's not the most technically gifted player, but he just knows where the net is. And the amount of times this season where, especially in that February I was talking about, where we played like West Brom at home and we ended up losing in the last minute, we had so many chances. And at Wigan away, I remember we had 20-odd shots and only scored 1 goal and lost 2-1. We lost so many points, and I think we could have maybe mounted more of a playoff challenge if we had that out-and-out goal scorer in our team. I mean, we had it with Charlie Austin a few years back, but obviously he went to Southampton, and Heider Helgeson as well, if you want to go all the years back. But
now, obviously, the games are running out. There's not many points on the board. I think a possible 12 out there. But where do you ultimately think you're going to finish in the league?
Given our current form, I'd probably say 17th. I can't see us. I think Stoke are just above us now. They're about 4 points clear. So I'd definitely say 17th. It's where we usually finish anyway. So 17th, definitely. So
obviously, you got your own local rivalries and all that kind of good stuff. But that aside, is there anybody and any other team within the division that you can't stand?
Probably Villa. I'd say Villa. Yeah. I've been to Villa a couple of times, and every time we played Villa in the Premier League, I went to Villa away a few times, and it always seemed to be boiling down to a relegation sort of game. Whoever won was basically going to be safe, and the other one was done for. Just Villa in general. They took Tim Sherwood, who's favourite to be our new manager. Since that sort of thing, I've just never liked Villa. I've just never seen the appeal. I mean, I just really hate them, to be honest. Yep.
Now, before we wrap this puppy up, the game does take place this Friday. QPR against Blackburn Rovers. What do you think the final score is going to be?
You guys have been a big bogey team for us. I can't actually remember a time I've been alive where we've beaten you. Not that we played you a massive amount, but we never seem to get anything with you. I'd say the way we've been playing, you guys have been doing well. I think if we play anything like we did on Saturday, I think I'm going to go 2-1 to QPR.
2-1, break the hoodoo.
Awesome, Johnny. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to do it all again next season, as both teams should be in the old Championship next season. But until then, I'm going to let you get out of here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Now, over the years, a number of players have played for both Blackburn Rovers and QPR. Here are a retro 3 of them. Ozzy Ardiles, that's right. ex-Rover, ex-Ranger, Blue and White Halves, Blue and White Hoops, going back in the day, joining him back in the day, Simon Parker. That's right, here he is, rocking the old Blue and White Halves. Is that the Milk Cup or something like that? I don't know. And also here he is, I think in Premier League action for QPR back in the day. Now, how about this guy, the mullet? That's right, Darren Peacock. Last time I checked, he was manager of Lancaster City. He also played for Newcastle United, QPR, and of course, the mighty Blue and White Halves. Now, if you want to check out a list of all the players that have played for both Blackburn Rovers and Queen's Park Rangers, head over to my WordPress site. Details to that sucker in your description below. Now, a little bit of what I have to say about the match. What you really want to hear is what Cass the Cat has got up her sleeve. What she predicted for the QPR Blackburn Rovers game at Loftus Road. Here she comes. That's pretty much all I've got for you today, folks. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a good old thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button, keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, world football related. We get it all here under one roof. And while I still have you, make sure you check out the old links. Details to my other social media platforms are in the Twitter, Facebook, and all kinds of good stuff. And once again, this Monday, Easter Monday, I'm going to be live on Twitch doing a live reaction to the Blackburn Rovers Bolton game. Details to that sucker in your description below. And it's going to be much better than it sounds. Obviously, you know, this face is only one that a mother could love. So, yeah, you might get a bit bored of looking at me. But, hey, there's plenty more to keep you up to speed. Kind of consider it the Soccer Saturday of the Championship. Yeah. I'll have live updates, live league tables. It's going to be much more entertaining and educational than you might expect. So head over there. It is in beta format, so there might be some quirks and some glitches perhaps, but it might go 100% smoothly. And if not, and if we win and score goals, you could see me explode live on air. That's right. When I say live on air, live on the web. Anyhow, I'm going to let you get out of here. I will be back with instant match review of this result on Friday, winners or draw, and hopefully Rovers can get another win, and hopefully we can get some more points on the board. Anyway, until then, thumbs up, subscribe. Ciao for now. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.